What is going on, everybody? Good Friday evening, 10:10 on the East Coast here on, what is it, May 17th already. Can't believe it. May's already
He
half
don't even
over.
know what the day is.
I was looking right at it, too.
And he's our lead in.
I forgot what 5 stood for as far as the months of the year for a second. My brain fried. We're off to a roaring start. Welcome into Smack Talk here on the Sportskeeda Wrestling Facebook page and the Wrestle Binge by Sportskeeda YouTube channel. Rick Ucchino, SP3, and the wrestling legend himself, Dutch Mantell. We got 4 quarterfinals matches to talk about in the King and Queen of the Rings tournament tonight. Cody Rhodes gets played by Logan Paul, even though I think we all kind of saw that one coming there a little bit from a storyline perspective. Regardless, only one title is going to be on the line at King and Queen of the Ring. And some other stuff happened on the show tonight that we'll get to. Gentlemen, how we doing this evening? Dutch, I know you're not fantastic. We're gonna have to take this one a little quick tonight for you, but how you feeling?
Oh, I feel okay. I just don't feel great. But I tell you, I still feel good enough to jump on your butt.
I wouldn't expect.
Have I told you that I'm changing? Have I told you I'm changing my name? Have I told you that? Let's see what he does. He's making no move to leave. Okay, folks, we're talking about if he says I say something on the show tonight, he's bouncing. We're going to see if he does. Okay, but I'm doing okay. Continue with the show.
SP3, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here today. I love Dutch's hat, and yeah.
Yeah. You know what that means, right?
It means that you look good in the hat.
You look great in pink. Make sure to send us in your super chats and any of your comments. We'll try to get to them as quickly as possible. But like I said, we're gonna kind of go through this one a little quick tonight. So let's dive into it here, guys. We open up hot right out of the gate. Quarterfinals matchups in the Queen of the Ring tournament. Bianca Belair and Tiffany Stratton. First off, I loved the opening hype package for all of the matches tonight. I thought that was really well put together. The presentation of these tournaments really making it feel much more important than the most recent iterations of the ones that we've had in the last decade or so. I thought both women looked really strong in this one, both literally and metaphorically. The timing on the prettiest moonsault counter was perfect, absolutely flawless. I thought that was a great setup for the KOD. Bianca moves on. The knee injury is going to continue to be a story moving forward. I like that as well. Dutch, what did you think of the opening matchup tonight?
Well, I've noticed it about the whole show. They've tightened their work up. I mean, and they're not rushing as much. They're taking their time. And what they're doing, if you weren't a fan plugged in on, they rehearse all this stuff, some of that stuff looks real and it looks good. And they got the production people to do it. And I think this is one of the best all-around shows that I've seen SmackDown have. Oh. And the girls tonight, I thought that was 2 of the best girls matches I've seen too. Bianca and Tiffany, it's almost like a clinic out there. How long has that Tiffany girl been working? How long has she been around?
What, a couple of years?
So 2021.
Yeah, well, she's an athlete.
I think she's only been wrestling for like 3 years.
Yeah, and she is going to be a star, a big one. So we can see it coming here. So I'm looking forward to that advancement that she's going to make. She'll be the champion. She will. I'll say give it her a year and she'll be up there.
6 Hybrid saying Belair and Stratton match felt pay-per-view quality tonight.
Hey, that's what I said.
SP3, you agree with that assessment, SP3?
No, but it was a good match. Very good opener.
It was a great TV match.
I don't think so. I think that I think there was a couple of clunky spots very early on, like one where Tiffany didn't get her foot up for the boot in the corner, and they had to repeat the spot again and again. So
I'll tell you
that,
what she
that
did
type
too.
of stuff I take.
She pulled her top down. Her boob was about to pop out, and I saw her pull that down.
I saw her.
It could have been proved. It could have been proved.
She was trying to adjust her outfit. That's why she didn't get her foot up in time. So I take note of those type of things. I thought it was a very good matchup, very good opening, a very good TV matchup. I just don't think it was great. You can be very good, but not great. I think it was very good.
There was one spot
But
where
wait a minute. Isn't that a thin line, a really thin line
Yeah,
you're
it's,
walking on,
yeah, it's,
Sid?
yeah, it's rather thin.
Just to clarify.
I
Just
just think that the little bit of clunky spots early stopped it from being a great matchup. But the closing stretch, I will say, the final 5 minutes of the matchup was great and was the best part of the matchup, with the crowd really invested and behind Bianca. They were giving Tiffany a loud reaction, and this was probably Tiffany's best singles match since coming to the main roster outside of the triple threat at Backlash.
are we surprised by who won the match? Anybody?
Not really.
I'm not surprised at it. But see, that match could have went either way, and I'd have been happy with it, because now Tiffany has a way to slide her way back in there, and it makes sense. That's all I'm asking WWE to do, is make sense with their booking. And even though she got beat, she's not dead by any stretch, and she can come back and fit right back in.
I thought the match was a little less predictable last week at this time when we were reviewing the show, and it looked like we were going to get Tiffany and Bianca. But after the controversy of the week with Tiffany Stratton, I was not surprised to see Bianca Belair win this one.
Our second female semifinal of the night was Nia Jax and Jade Cargill. And the second that Bianca Belair won this her opening matchup tonight, Twitter was losing its damn mind, saying, oh my God, are they really going to give us Bianca and Jade Cargill in a semifinal of the Queen of the Ring tournament? This is too soon. Yada shit with a blah, blah, bullshit all over Twitter tonight. Everybody losing their minds. And then Nia Jax goes out and wins the semifinal via disqualification. Now, I know that's going to be controversy in and of itself, because I know people hated that off of the internet as well from the reactions from it. But I actually thought this was a bit of good business tonight. I liked Nia goading Jade into that disqualification from the get-go, even yelling at her daughter at one point, getting in her face and saying, your mom sucks, and good on the daughter too for getting back in her face and screaming, no, she doesn't. I love that little bit there. But she made Jade go hard into the ring post. She was bleeding. She really hit herself hard on the ring post there, and then swung the chair. Jade was pissed. Jade caught it, kind of, almost missed it, but she caught it, and she hit Jax with it. Disqualification. So Nia moves on. You avoid Jade and Bianca next week in the semifinal. And Nia and Jade had to be pulled apart by security as they just continued to beat the holy hell out of each other. So now there's building up, adding heat to a potential rivalry there. Maybe Nia finds a tag team partner and they can go after the tag team titles, and they use this as a way to start Jade and Bianca's first tag team title program. I'm not sure where it goes from here, but I thought this was a good use of a disqualification tonight. Dutch, what'd you think?
Again, I like the finish because they left a lot of doors open. They got so many things they can do with that, just the way they ended that. Now that they got 4 or 5 different ways they can go that will make sense. See, 18 months ago, I keep talking about 18 months ago, but we could see it coming and it didn't even fit. They had nothing to support it. But now this is a supporting act for the Cody Rhodes, whoever he's going to go against, and they're spreading their emphasis out over their roster, over their performers, and it'll work to their advantage. I really liked the match. When I heard it, I'd forgotten that they were going to have the match on SmackDown this week, and then when I tuned in, then I heard it. I said, oh, okay, now I know why I wanted to see it, because this is the first time they'd matched up, right? So
since the Rumble, yeah.
And they actually meshed together well. Have they had any prior matches to this?
Together? No.
Just their interaction in the Royal Rumble in January.
And Jade is a good opponent for Nia Jax because they're 2 big girls and they can dish it out. So I'm there for it. I think the girls division, that's your favorite division, right, Rick?
Yes, sir.
They advanced tonight, big time.
SP3, your thoughts?
I thought this was the best finish of the night. I thought it was the best use of a DQ finish in a long time in WWE, because I was that guy on Twitter after Bianca won, because I saw my good friend Victor Perry of the Wrestling Club put out the tweet of, what if we do get Bianca versus Jade? And I was like, I'll be that guy. This would be the second time we've had African American WWE Women's Tag Team Champions champions that they immediately put into singles divisions to pit them against each other for singles accomplishments. And regardless of them going against each other or not, the point still stands that this is now 2 African-American women's champions that immediately got put into being singles right after winning the tag team titles together. So the point still stands. I do feel like it's too early for Jade to take any type of loss, even if it's a DQ, because it did make her look dumb in the end because Nia outsmarted her. So there is issues here, but I thought that the booking of the matchup and how it was laid out and how it was performed by both Nia and Jade was well done. So it accomplished everything that they needed to here and stayed us away from Jade and Bianca going at it way too early.
Yeah, I did think it didn't make much sense to put both Bianca and Jade in the Queen of the Ring after they had just won the tag team titles when you had other women. Frankly, you could have put in
you
there,
literally put one of every single other tag team in the women's division in the tournament. Literally, you put Piper, but not Chelsea. You put Candice, but not Indy. But you put both women's tag team champions.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm glad not every wrestling fan nitpicks this to death like you two do. How many people in that building tonight? You think 15,000?
Had to be like 14, 15,000.
Yeah.
Well, there's 14 or 15,000 people who didn't agree with you and they came to see it. So
yeah, I was going to say the people in the arena, they didn't give a damn that Bianca and
Yeah.
Jade were whether they were.
they don't overthink it. They
Well, we
just
get
take
paid
what
to
they
overthink
got.
They also don't get paid to analyze the show, Dutch.
Oh yeah, but see, I have nothing left
They
now.
literally,
See, you
literally
guys
paid,
have taken it all away.
They literally
And-
paid to be entertained.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but
for those
get
asking in the
paid for
chat
something.
about the chair shot, yeah, Nia accidentally hit Jade. I think Jade was supposed to catch it and it slipped there, but good on the ref to just be like, I didn't see anything on that one. Let's just go with the spot that was planned. Thank you very much. We did get not one but 2 sudden bouts with dumb babyface syndrome tonight. It's contagious, man. It's contagious. Jade Cargill caught it after LA Knight got it tonight. Let's talk about our men's quarterfinals matchups. It was LA Knight versus Tama Tonga. This is after we got a backstage segment, by the way, with Solo Sikoa and his new bloodline. They're backstage, and Tama Tonga is hyping himself up tonight in the weirdest way possible. I think I don't know what the hell he was doing, but it was hilarious. It kind of sounded like one of the hyenas from Lion King. Like he's just sitting there. I think he's saying yeah over and over and over again because he's starting to say LA Knight, but I don't know. Either that or Tommy Davidson from Ace Ventura, the second one, when they're fighting in the sand pit. That's what he sounded like when he was backstage with that. But we get Solo Sikoa telling Paul Heyman tonight that yeah, he talks to Roman Reigns all the time, and Paul Heyman just looks like a scorned lover. Like as the camera fades away and we head up to this matchup tonight.
okay, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sid. I want to hear your theory.
My new theory after this segment is that Solo was not lying when he said last week he talks to the tribal chief all the time. He talks to the tribal chief. This week he said he talks to him all the time. I think he's referring to The Rock.
And didn't LA Knight brought that up, right? HIM. They spelled it out.
No, that was
Mello.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carmelo's nickname is him. HIM.
Okay.
We did get a backstage segment with LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes talking trash with one another. Definitely teased something going down between them. We got 2 teases with LA Knight tonight. He went face to face with Logan Paul tonight, which immediately everybody was like, yes, please, SummerSlam, book it. Let's go. Cleveland, United States Championship.
Dutch, what did you think? Because I watched those 2 backstage segments. And I was like, oh, wow. Triple H finally realized that LA Knight's a star again?
Yeah, he's been missing. And they put him out there and the people popped. So,
I mean, last week on this show, I'm like, what the hell are we doing with LA Knight? Like, wrestled a dark match on the draft, got taken in like the 5th round or whatever it was on night 1, had the only men's opening round matchup that wasn't on television, and then he ends up losing tonight to Tama Tonga. Look, I thought this
Triple
match
H,
was
hang
good.
on. We're getting your show for next week. Let me talk to these guys. I'll call you back.
I thought this was a good matchup. I thought the finish fell really flat. LA gets distracted by Solo on the outside, never takes his eyes off him for a really long time. Tama hits that jumping flatliner finisher of his. I don't know what it's called. And
dear Lord, he needs a new finisher.
The referee counted 3, and the crowd was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" I mean, it was a weird.
They've spoiled their own crowd.
It was a weird finish.
Yeah. I liked it.
It just fell flat. And it took a little too long to cover, I think. Like, we'll talk about it at the end, but like when Randy did it on Carmelo, everybody knew Carmelo was done. Randy could have sat there for 3 minutes, and Carmelo was not going to get up after the RKO tonight. This looked like LA was going to kick out, and then he just didn't. And I kind of think it makes LA look bad. But at least, Dutch, it looks like they got some plans for him. Okay,
they've spoiled you now. You've expected him to kick out, and when he doesn't, that's the first thing you say is, "I didn't expect that." You didn't expect it, did you?
I didn't, but there's good and bad with that.
I don't know the bad. You're still going to buy a ticket, and you're still going to do this, what you get paid to do.
Sure.
And you're going to say the same stuff. That's why I'm saying I'm glad every wrestling fan, I'm sure they're not thinking that. Because I never thought that.
I saw a lot of wrestling fans on social media was like, Tama Tonga's finisher sucks. It's the same finisher. It's the same finisher that R-Truth has been doing for a decade. Like, dude, like you have so many other moves like that. Like I think that Dutch, you do understand though that you do have to have an effective finisher that the crowd knows is your finisher. And I know he's new, but the last 2 weeks winning with the jumping flatliner, like it's okay if you win with a jumping flatliner against Angelo Dawkins. But when you're facing someone who's as over as LA Knight, it does come off anticlimactic. And that was kind of like the quietest the crowd got all night.
When they went into the ring, did you know did you have a strong feeling who would go over?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I knew Tama would win.
Okay.
I figured it would be because of bloodline assistance, like we saw last week. I mean, because that's what Orton they set up Orton and Tama last week, and I think they did a good job of putting LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes together before this match. Because anybody like myself or SP3 who was tuned in last week and said, "Oh, well, they definitely telegraphed that it's going to be Orton and Tama," at least they put an effort in tonight, saying, "Oh, well, maybe we'll get LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes." Maybe. So they put that together.
Wait a minute. That's the key word. Maybe. So they got you thinking about it, and it wasn't what you thought, but at least you're still thinking about it. So you're still a fan.
Yeah. Well, and after LA Knight lost, we got another great backstage segment between these two where Carmelo Hayes comes up to him and immediately he starts barking at him. They're still talking trash. LA Knight wants to whoop his butt, but he's got to go to the trainer's room because he got his wing clipped a little bit in that match tonight. And they're getting pulled apart by, Charles Robinson. And I think that was Jamie Noble who came in. So, hey, at least even though they both lost tonight, they can do something with these guys moving forward until it's time for LA Knight and Logan Paul to do their business. The main event tonight, which we'll jump to here before going to our contract signing, was Randy Orton and Carmelo Hayes. This was one I was really, really looking forward to. I had a feeling that Randy Orton was going to win this one, and we all kind of had the feeling I was coming after Tama won tonight anyway. He wins with an RKO off of a Mello springboard attempt. Spectacular timing. Mello sold it like $1 million. I loved Randy just sitting there for a few seconds on this one. In classic Randy fashion, he knows he's won the match. He's taken everything in with the crowd as they're losing their mind. He tweaked his knee a little bit. He kind of pops it back into place, straightens up his knee pad, crawls into the count. It's over. Mello's out. Another good showing for him tonight. I like this a lot, Dutch. What'd you think of the main event tonight?
Okay, did you doubt that Orton wouldn't win it? Maybe.
Not for a second. Once Tama won, I knew that was going to be the direction they were going next week.
Well, you were right. I figured that Orton was going to win because Orton, who was the Tonga? he won, so he would be facing the other kid, right? There's no sting to it. There's no push to it. But Tonga versus Orton has got it's got the magic about it. First time they've matched up, so. But I enjoyed the match. Hey, that Orton is friggin' great. He don't miss anything. Takes his time, and I think he gives the announcers a lot to talk about. And how long has he been doing this? Over 20 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than that.
22.
He was around.
22, 23 years.
22
he came
years.
in 2002.
Didn't he win his first title in 2004? Memory serves correct.
Yeah, the world title. Yeah, this was another good match.
Good match.
This was another good match from Orton, back to back. Really good main events to SmackDown for Orton. Orton just seems in the zone and he's having a lot of fun right now. So I think that this is probably the best stretch I've seen from Orton as far as like in-ring work, between the match last week with AJ, the match here with Carmelo where he sold the knee really well, made Carmelo kind of come off with his character a lot better, how he's like this cocky upstart who's gonna lick his hand and smack Orton in the back of the head. So the great character work by Carmelo in the matchup that helped this matchup as well. So I enjoyed this one. And they really see something in Carmelo, in that the fact that his first 3 matches in WWE on the main roster, 2 of them have been against Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, says a lot about him despite him losing both matches.
Yeah, exactly. And look, he does not look lost at all. He fits right in. He stepped up to the plate. He's knocked it out all 3 times. Wins and losses aren't really going to matter for him right now. He'll get his wins down the line. They obviously got major plans for him. Otherwise, they wouldn't have taken him in the first round. Not that draft picks always make sense with the WWE draft, but that was a statement, and the way that they presented him so far has been a statement as well.
Not that means anything. That's what he said. But it means everything.
Not that it always means something.
I was going to say, because, I mean, after Orton won, I was like, okay, so we're getting Orton and Gunther. That's the King of the Ring final. And then I saw somebody be like, oh, well, the other option is kind of doable too, and Jey Uso versus Tama Tonga. And yes, it would be kind of a restarting of the Bloodline Civil War, or kind of lead to that maybe eventually, but that feels like too early. That feels like Jade and Bianca. Feels like this is not the place to do this in this tournament. The goal of this King of the Ring tournament has seemed to be about elevating the King of the Ring as a prestigious honor to the stars. So I think that you need to have 2 top stars in that main event, not a guy that you're trying to make us all believe is a main eventer and another guy that just got here. That doesn't add to the prestige of this King of the Ring. Randy Orton, 14-time world champion, that's never won a King of the Ring, and Gunther, who this whole tournament has been built around, that does that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's got to be Gunther and Randy. I think we throw the term dream match out too often, but it's definitely one that everybody wants to see. And it would make sense to go with Jey Uso and Tama Tonga as well. And there is a story there, and I respect that, and I would be okay with it. I would be hyped as hell to get Gunther versus Randy Orton. Like, that's a matchup where I'm like, I don't know who wins. Go. Let me just sit here and enjoy the hell out of it, because it's good. It's gonna rock no matter what. Dutch, if you had your druthers, Gunther versus Randy Orton, Jey Uso versus Tama Tonga, which one are you?
Gunther. I think it's Gunther's time. He's been kind of on that other secondary channel, so I think they bring it back home and put him back on SmackDown. So I think it's Gunther and Orton. They'll tear it down. But I'm kind of over the Jey Uso and the Tonga, whatever his name is. I'm kind of over that now. So hang on a minute, guys. I think my cat's getting killed over here.
Well, Dutch. Gunther winning the King of the Ring doesn't mean he's going to be on SmackDown. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to inform you.
I know that, but it's time for Gunther to move. I predict.
I love how Dutch always tries to get Gunther back. I think one of his bookies. When Roman was champion, who's next for Roman? He's not even on this brand. Gunther. He's always trying to get Gunther.
You got to understand, Dutch Dutch is still used to the Vince days of running things where nothing freaking mattered and anybody could go anywhere at any time and it'd be wild card rule. I'm a genius. Yeah. And all that, all that BS. But I get it, man. We all love Gunther. But yeah, that needs to be the match. The interesting thing to me is what's going to end up being the Queen of the Ring final. You could do.
I honestly said, I was like, when I looked at the field after the results of tonight, I was like, it's got to be Nia Jax versus Lyra Valkyria, because I'm sorry, despite them having great chemistry together, doing Io Sky versus Bianca Belair makes zero sense after you just put Damage Control on Raw for one of the big reasons to separate them from Bianca Belair.
Exactly. And that's where I'm sitting here. I'm like, well, Bianca's got a good story. She can make it to the to the finals. You know, Bianca in the Saudi Arabia crowd, they love her there, but she'll get to wrestle on SmackDown anyway, because that's going to be SmackDown next week, by the way, is taped. It's going to be in Saudi Arabia, but it's going to be taped. Obviously not going to go live at 10 a.m. or whatever time it would be.
But if you're in the UK, you can watch it live.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm sitting here and I'm going, EO makes a ton of sense to make the finals as well. But yeah, this almost has to be Lyra versus Nia, just for the simple fact of, please, dear God, keep Bianca Belair away from Damage Control at all freaking costs. I don't even want her mixing up with Bailey right now. Like, it's still too new. No. That's why I liked Bianca and Jade winning the tag team titles. I'm like, great. Keep her away from singles competition for a little bit. But no, we're going to put her in the Queen of the Ring tournament. Dutch, we're talking about the Queen of the Ring semifinals here real quick. It's Lyra Valkyria versus Io Sky over on Raw. Lyra is a recent NXT call-up, if you're unfamiliar with her. And then it's Nia and Bianca. If we're going to be going with the face-heel dynamic, it gives us two options. Either Io Sky and Bianca Belair, who have spent the last 2 years plus feuding with one another. They just moved Damage Control over to Monday Night Raw, in part to get her away from Bianca. So do they go directly right back to Bianca versus Io again at the Queen of the Ring finals, or do they do a fresh matchup in Lyra Valkyria out to prove herself, former NXT Women's Champion, against Nia Jax?
Well, I don't know why they'd go back to the same thing they were doing. Try a new thing. See what that does. Open another door. Because they got 52 weeks to fix it if they make a mistake. And they can tell if they make a mistake almost right away, because they can tell by the crowd reaction and how they're going to accept them. I will go to don't do what you've done before. Do something different.
And I also feel like the Nia Jax versus Lyra Valkyria is an unpredictable final, because you can definitely see Nia dominating and beating her to become Queen of the Ring, but you can also see Lyra kind of do the underdog babyface thing and pull out the win in the end and put her over now that she's on the main roster. So like, I feel like that's the move, because that can go either way.
Yeah. And they really need to, for a lot of reasons, with Charlotte still out with an injury, with Rhea, we don't know when she's going to come back. And quite frankly, 2 weeks, folks, 2 weeks. That's how much Becky Lynch has left on her WWE contract. She has not signed an extension yet. Okay. So until pen is put to paper,
we'll hear the news on Monday, guys.
I'm just saying, as of right now, you're talking about 3 of your top stars out for various reasons. Potentially, Becky could drop the title to Liv at Queen of the Ring and then bolt for a while. She could take the summer off if she wanted to and then re-sign and come back. So we don't know what's going to happen with that until it actually happens. So you need to get more women over on Raw is what I'm talking about. Because if Liv wins the title, she needs somebody to go against until Rhea comes back. So Lyra could easily step in at that point. You could do something where Liv hurts Becky and Becky has to go away, and you started this little mentorship, partnership, friendship thing with Lyra and Becky already on Raw these first few weeks. You go that way. Becky resigns. Becky can retain, and she can continue her feud with Damage Control that they already started there. So we'll see what happens on that front. Lastly tonight, where are my notes on it? We had our contract signing. It was Cody Rhodes. I don't know where the hell my freaking note. There it is. Okay, we had the Cody Rhodes.
Really quick. DIY beat Legado del Fantasma. It was barely a match, and A-Town Down Under on commentary was the best part. But continue, just Rich.
Real quick, I did like the fact that they actually brought up the history between Austin Theory and Johnny Gargano, that could be a nice, place to start in a tag team title program with those guys and actually give Johnny Gargano a story for the first time in a long time. So
I wish they would have also, or they still have time. They also bring up the history between Gargano and Grayson Waller, seeing that Grayson Waller, I think, almost was about to break in his house to get to his child, and his own child had to watch Johnny get beat up by Grayson Waller last year outside the house. So yeah, I would like to hear that history as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot that they could dive into. Johnny and Grayson had a great match at NXT Stand and Deliver last year.
So he broke into his house.
The angle at the house set up. Yeah.
Yep. And that was the best best version we saw of Candice LeRae is when she jumped out of the audience and had the kendo stick and whooped Grayson Waller's ass. That's the best she's looked. She's come back.
To be fair,
well, they need to replay that.
That to be fair, that followed her look at the worst she had because she was basically traumatizing her own son by making him watch his dad get beat up.
All right, we got Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul in a contract signing. The question was it going to be title for title or not? Now, Corey Graves, ahead of the segment tonight, said it was going to be both titles on the line. Corey Graves said that. Cody Rhodes has been tweeting all week that this is going to be title for title. He's going to be Cody 2 belts. He's going to be a Grand Slam champion.
Liar.
First off, Cody got a hell of a reaction in Jacksonville for all the obvious reasons. Cody hops on the mic. He's playing around with the audience. He's calling back to War Games 1992. Says he's a fan, just like everybody else there. He calls Logan Paul. What did he say he was? He was a tourist. Called him a tourist, said it was time for Logan Paul to get off the train and drop that United States Championship when he does it. Logan gets on the mic, crowd boos the ever-loving crap out of him. Logan ends up tearing up the contract, says he never agreed to put his United States title on the line. And then he had his attorney write up a new one in which only Cody's WWE Championship would be on the line. Nick Aldis gets pissed off. He starts talking on the mic. And then the attorney cuts him off and says, "Are you threatening my client?" And that is when Cody said, I know what you're like when you get mad. Go ahead. You are relieved of your contract assigning duties of this evening, and I will handle this. Cody calls Logan Paul a fly-by-night human hat rack. Ends up signing the contract, tosses him from the ring, power bombs one of his broccoli-haired posse through the table. I thought this was a really good contract signing. It cleared up a lot of the confusion from last week, and there was a good reason why they left it hanging in the balance the way that they did, why Cody was the only one talking about it being a title for title match, why they never really even clarified it on WWE.com. They were waiting for this segment tonight for Logan Paul to pull the swerve here. And I think this kind of eliminates the DQ finish, or maybe it doesn't. We'll see how it shakes out. But Dutch, what'd you think of the segment tonight and the explanation and how we got to it just being one title on the line?
It was well done. They make a big presentation out of Logan Paul coming in with his entourage. I thought somehow that lawyer manager was going to go through the table, but looking at him, I said, I don't know if he could do that. But I knew that I think what I would have done with that guy, the only thing I could maybe helped it with is the guy that he power slammed. I'd take that torn up contract, stick it in his mouth. And I tell Logan Paul, if you want to read it, tell him to spit and then walk out, and then it's over. You end with a good line, you end with a good spot. So that's what I would do. But yeah, they did it well.
The guy who was playing the attorney, whether that was Logan's actual attorney or not, I don't know. The far removed from the days of Thomas Whitney Esquire in the ring, who were getting ready to take a bump. SP3, what'd you think of this one?
I thought it was a really fun segment. I think that Logan and Cody, as far as like in-ring promos, have shown like 1,000 more chemistry than Cody and AJ Styles did in their promo exchanges.
There's a reason for that.
I just hope they have the same chemistry that Cody and AJ had in the ring, because when the bell rang and at Backlash, they had one of the best main events in WWE in a long time. So, or just up there with the last main event at WrestleMania. So I think that they will have the chemistry in the ring, but they're showing really good chemistry, and it's making me believe that Logan Paul should have been the first challenger for Cody from jump, because they just have instant chemistry with each other. It feels like a big time main event that they're building to, and this is the right type of heel to be against Cody right now at this point of his title reign.
Yeah. Logan Paul, they do have chemistry. You can't manufacture that. They either got it or they don't have it, and these two guys have it. So if they'll turn them loose, let them go, leave them alone in a room for an hour or two, and they got their match. Of course, they'll be working. They're working on it now, but it'll be a great match.
Yeah, I just think it was, as far from a chemistry, you're 100% right on the microphone, right? But I think also from just the storyline standpoint of, I respect you, I respect you, I respect your father, we're two Georgia boys. It was just kind of a mundane, just flatline storyline that they did for a couple of weeks coming out of WrestleMania, where it's, I don't respect you, you're a piece of trash, yes, you can do a flip, I don't give a shit, let's go. And then Logan Paul does his cocky, arrogant stuff, everybody boos him out of the building, there's Prime logos everywhere that make people sick. There's a lot more fun to this. I respect you, that's great. That's not fun. It's not a fun storyline. It's oh, that's nice. Look at these two guys. They're gonna have a nice match. And then they go out and they had a baller match, right? So this is a little bit more fun of a journey as we get to the finish. One more thing before we SP3, your mic's off.
I just want to say this, that Nick Aldis, when he introduced last week, he said that Logan Paul was the next challenger for Cody Rhodes' undisputed WWE championship. He never said that Logan Paul was defending the US championship. It seems like Cody assumed because Logan Paul was challenging for his title, he got to challenge for the US championship, and made everybody, including Aldis, believe that this was going to be title for title, when Logan Paul, I agree with him, he never agreed to that. That was not how this whole idea was introduced to any of the fans. It was just kind of talked about in the promo that Cody kind of assumed that the title would be on the line. So I'm 100% with Logan Paul. And it's not just me loving heels. I think that he made sense here.
No, he totally did. He 100% did. Yeah, it was like Cody immediately.
Well, somebody's not doing their job here. I think Nick Aldis needs to have a little talking to.
No, Cody put something out into the ether. And Nick Aldis liked the sound of it, so Nick Aldis wrote up the contract. That was Cody trying to pull a fast one. You're right. Nick Aldis said, here's your challenger for the WWE Championship. And Cody was like, yeah, you know what? I'd love to be a Grand Slam champion. Let's go. And nobody said that. But Nick Aldis was like, sounds good to me. I'll put it in the contract. And Logan's like, no, sir. We ain't doing this. No, I didn't agree to that.
Well, since it's not for the Grand Slam championship, they can put that aside for a moment and come back to it. They're not going to burn it here. So it's good either way. I'd go see the match either way.
Yeah, for sure. I think, again, we know the destination, but getting there is going to be a pretty good ride. One final thing before we wrap up here. Again, apologies. We needed to make this one a quick one tonight. We had Corey Graves tonight directly address the QR codes that have been popping up on screen. I haven't had a chance to check out the one that did pop up today, but they showed us the clips from the one that took over WWE's Twitch channel this week. There's been a lot of interesting stuff. Well, I believe we even had a shadowy figure standing in the crowd on Monday Night Raw this past week. We're going to get a reveal here sooner rather than later. Do we think it comes at King and Queen of the Ring?
I would
It'd be a great place
so.
to have it. You don't think? Well, I don't know. I think that would be the perfect spot to have it. Now you got the video of it. You got it now. Take it back with you. It'll be a big crowd, responsive crowd. He'd look great in that big stadium. So we'll see.
I'm just wondering where they would fit. That's the interesting thing to me. I think showing up at King of the Ring makes sense. It's a pay-per-view. A big moment for them and this group to show up. If it is a Wyatt Six faction, we all believe it's Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy, whatever iteration of him we're getting. There's rumors that Joe Gacy's going to be involved. Who else? Eric Redbeard showing up. Eric Rowan could possibly be part of this group. Nikki Cross, Dexter Loomis. All of those guys have been rumored to be involved in this group. Possibly Alexa Bliss as well. We'll see. But where do they fit? If Orton makes it to the King of the Ring makes it to the King of the Ring finals, they could do something with Orton out of the bat with the history between Bray and Randy there. That might be a fit, but that's what I'm going to be most interested to see if they show up where they end up going, who they end up, their first program ends up being, or maybe they just show up and we're left wondering, and it's going to be another slow burn. Like we're used to seeing with Bray stuff in the past. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
If they didn't set up 101 feuds for him on this show, I would say LA Knight seems like the guy that would make the most sense. Have Uncle Howdy start with Bray's last feud.
Did Uncle Howdy make his debut with LA Knight?
Yeah.
He did. That would make sense. Well, maybe they do it on SmackDown next week. Maybe you book Carmelo versus LA Knight next week, and they do it on SmackDown.
I'll tell you what, I'm tired of doing WWE creative work. I don't get paid for that. I just get paid for surmising. So we need to tell WWE creative, get off your butts and give us something good, and don't make us guess at it.
We do have one quick super chat here from Roland Curtis. Thank you for sending in, as always, Roland. I'd like to see. I'm trying to think. He's like Bianca. Okay, so he wants Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill hold all 4 titles at once, 2-woman power trip, and run the entire division. So I guess one would be the
world that ain't happening.
Women's world champion. One would be the women's champion, and they would be the tag team champs at the same time. I guess technically that would be possible since they're the tag team champions and they can float to whichever brand they want to go to. Could they do it? Sure, absolutely, they could do it. Will they?
You just a sellout. So
I'm just saying. Technically, they have the golden ticket to do it with women's tag team titles.
Send $20 and you have him agreeing to anything. He's such a sellout.
They could do it. Should they do it? Would they do it? No, I don't think so. You got far too much talent in both women's divisions to just throw everything on 2 women.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was going to say, Roland. And he beat me to it.
Just my personal opinion on it. SP3, what you got going on True Heel?
And I personally don't think that was ever going to be a Sasha and Naomi storyline, but teach yourself. But yeah, True Heel Heat YouTube channel. We got our flagship podcast tomorrow, 11:05 a.m. Eastern time. Join us for that. It'll be myself, Miss Chrissy Love, True Draw Josh, and Top Guy JJ. We got special guest Zach Haydorn joining us, and it's going to be a special birthday edition of True Heel Heat because tomorrow is my birthday.
Oh, really? Well, happy birthday, SP3. 29
how many years can I ask?
I am 36 years young.
Are you really? How old are you, Rick?
36.
You are not.
No, I am.
You're at least in the 40s, buddy.
April 13th, 1988.
See, he studied that date before we went on the air so he could say that. So, but you can find me since Rick is not going to ask me.
I was 45, so yeah, you ain't going to say shit to me. So
sure. He said you look about 45.
And then I asked a good question, and he said, "Oh, you look 25 now."
People can find me at Dirty Dutch Mantell with 2 L's, since nobody's going to introduce me, at gmail.com. And hey, did you hear that WWE, they're starting a new female talent from the Netherlands? They're going to call her the Duchess. And I won't go any more on that. But whoop, Rick left. He took off. Rick, you can come back, buddy. He left. Dock him, Rouge. Okay, I guess he's left us alone. And
I hope he's still in the backstage area so he can end this broadcast because I don't have credentials.
Okay, we're leaving. We're taking off, buddy. I'm out of here. See you next week.
Until next time.
I'm gone.